So welcome back to the channel. Today we're in the ute. We're going to install a boost gauge, exhaust gas temperature gauge, and a transmission temperature gauge. I like to have this sort of stuff in tow cars. I believe it's important. I tow probably the best part of 2.5 ton when going to racetracks, and it's important. So come along for the ride. I'll show you how easy it is. All right, so I'd like to first off say a big shout out to the guys at Zardatech. They have come on board, and we are now going to be a distributor slash supplier for Australian market and New Zealand. The products they offer are fantastic. They've got everything from small little very simplistic gauges to go into your whatever car you'd like it to go into, all the way through to full custom setups that offer an abundance of measure points, OBD2 all the way through to direct sensor input. Whatever you need to do, these guys do custom layouts. So I've basically been working with them for the last little while, discussing a few different options and how we could set up a good product. I've called this one the tow pack. So I'll just reach into our box of goodies over here, and this is the panel that we'll be using. So as you can see, it's pretty nifty little device actually. This will slide. I'll show you where this will go. This will basically just slot in front of the pocket din on the Navara. So we're going to basically have that as a product offered for all Navaras that have that little section that you can use. I'm going to fabricate up some custom brackets to slide into the pocket din. So what we will be doing is, once the bends come in, they slot straight into the to the pocket itself, and then we'll just screw into the side of the plastic of the trim. So you won't see any markings, and it will be a fixed position for it. This setup that we're doing isn't limited. This is, I think they go up to 16. I'll be corrected on that later on, but 12 or 16 sort of sensory inputs. So even though I'm only using the 3, if you want something that's a little bit more custom, then you can obviously do that as well. So let's get into it. First off, let's get cracking with the button install, which I've already done. I wanted to see how it would turn out, which it's just down here. Forgive my eyes for looking at it. We'll make up some brackets, wire it all up, throw it into the car, and hopefully it's nice and simplistic. Come along and we'll go through it all now. Okay, so I've mounted my switch just in that panel there, and the glue's still relatively fresh, so ignore the mess on that. But basically, screw it into here. Wiring comes up into here. So we're going to mount the control box, which is this one here. This one here is basically the the sensory input for all the sensors, which then goes to your screen. So joystick, LED warning, light switch, out, in, and then on the other side you've got the ignition 12 volts, the boost, EGT, and trans temp. So we'll get the focus in that one. Pretty simple. And then your HDMI output to go to where we're going to house the screen just here. So this will just sit up in here. I never use this sort of pocket area, so I'm happy to sort of sacrifice this area. We'll just secure that down, and the good thing about putting it here, forgive the books and the mess, you've got the fuse box right here. So just a simple little hole in there, and piggyback off one of the fuses in there. So in a nutshell, that's where we're at. Let's go and start fabricating. So I'm a little bit angry, but I'll get over it. Unfortunately, the GoPro had a moment, so none of the brackets will be shown. I'm 98% finished with the brackets. There'll be 2 little holes each side drilled in. I've just got to trim that down flush so it's along the edge. So that's where it sits. Obviously the plastic's on there at the moment, but we'll go back to it shortly. Next we drill a hole in here so we can get to the fuse box, and I'm just going to do a piggyback. As you can see, I use this for my light bar, but we do a piggyback fuse holder in there, and we'll get the control box mounted right in there. Alright, so I've run a earth cable through and the HDMI cable, and this is the joystick cable. So we've got all three cables that run through a hole I've drilled in the back there. Earth cable we've got sitting in there. So basically now we've got boost, EGT and trans temp sensors to run. So I believe, I'm going to go have a look, but I believe down in there there's the major grommet, which everyone sort of harps on about to use. And that actually works out relatively well because it's on the battery side. So let's get into the engine bay. Alright, so we've got all the sensors out, and this is the boost sensor that I'm going to mount on the underside of this bracket. And I'm going to keep the hose length relatively short just into this intercooler joiner here. So we'll tap and thread a fitting into there. Sorry about the birds. This is the EGT. Now, as you can see, I've already got an exhaust on this car, and thinking ahead, I put a N1/8 MPT bung already in there, so we'll have to crank that one out, and let's get into it. Okay, so the brackets are now done for the stereo DIN pocket. So these screw into the side and then onto the side of the screen. Now they do look a bit ghetto, but you don't really see them, so I'm not overly fussed on this one. So next we're in the engine bay. I've mounted the boost sensor here. These are the three wires that need to run into the cabin. There's also a transmission cooler hose here. I'm going to tap into here, but not as of yet, because I want to make sure which one the flow is, so I'll get the car up and running and find out which side of the hang on, we'll come down here, which side of the two lines in and out is the hot line. So we'll work on that, but I'm praying it's that one. So I'll run some cabling basically down here, some 5 or 7 core, so that we can get to this. And just an FYI, if you are going to be doing that, the EGT that's in the back there, you can't extend that cable, because that cable is a predetermined length which we need to use. So let's get into it. Okay, so next we've put this fitting in. That's for the boost sensor. This is the intake hose for the off the throttle plate, or lack thereof if you're a diesel person. So we'll just bolt this back into the car, and this has been tapped, so in theory it should be right. Let's just hope that it seals, and if not, I can just throw a little bit of gasket around the edge. But yeah, so that's come up well. We'll throw that in the car. Okay, so now we've got the boost reference line fitted, filter included. I like to cable tie all the barb fittings. I know that's a bit overkill, but I'm a little bit precious like that. So basically what we'll do now is, I've got some trailer cable, and we'll run this through into the cabin, and the remaining can come down here to hopefully where that line there works for later on in life. And then we'll also run just up the top through there the EGT into the back. Okay, so I jumped in the car because we're running out of light, as you can see, and it's very cold. Anyway, we've put the box in here. The wiring's a little bit rubbish at the moment as far as neatness, but you know, I've tidied it up a little bit, and you really won't see it. It'll be tucked away like that. But down here we've got the all the cables here. So we've got the illumination, I've got the earth and power, and we also have the HDMI that goes in here. So I'm just waiting on the brackets to dry up, and we will connect everything up, and we'll go from there. So we're getting close. Forgive me for the light, it's very dark, but we'll continue into this tomorrow. Okay, so I've still got a couple little things to do. I've just got to screw them in. I'm waiting for a right angle HDMI plug, which works for this setup. So in the future, if anyone does do this and mount it where I've mounted it here, it's probably for the best that you do that. This cable down here as well is my LED warning, which I've snuck it in the hole there, and sorry, in the corner there, and I'm not overly happy with that position, but anyway, I'll come back to that. So let's do the first kick over and see if everything lights up. Oh, probably need the HDMI cable connected. Let's come back to part 2. Okay, so part 2, I've connected the HDMI cable. Like I said, please forgive the crudeness of this. I'm just trying to display how it works. So we'll kick the ignition on. Everything looks like it's booting up. Nice, that's all good. Now let's give a bit of temp. I should let some oil pressure get in there, but yeah, trans temp's not hooked up yet. I'm waiting for the fitting for that, so I think that's a great result. So like I said, I'm really happy with this. This is a cracker of a unit. Big shout out to the guys at Zardatech. You've really helped me on this, so I genuinely appreciate it. Next we'll get the transmission fitting fitted up. I'm not going to go through that. I'd rather just get the video out to show everyone the product itself. So any questions or anything, please feel free to drop me a message down below, or hit up the guys at Zardatech, and they'll be able to answer any questions for you. I'll put the link in the description as well. I would appreciate, I'm trying to build this channel up, so I don't want to be that guy asking for subscription and blah blah blah, but throw me a thumbs up if you like this video. We'll obviously get some more videos posted soon, so thanks again for watching. Really do appreciate it. Throw me that thumbs up, really would love to see how much everyone's enjoying this, and we'll get a full set hopefully into the S14 next, and we'll do the dash install on that one, not just the gauges. There's a complete range that these guys do. So again, big shout out. Any questions, flick me a message below, and thanks for watching.